Hello everyone, welcome into Deacon's NFL Talk. I'm your host Deacon. Welcome back to another episode on the channel, episode 57 I believe. And this week we will have 4 NFL topics, but all of them are going to be long, short segments of each topic because all of them are really big must talk about topics. I feel like I say that every week. After that we'll have also 4 quick hits, so I should be able to outpace the timer with ease. After that, we have the most signings and cuts we've probably had since last offseason. It's the most that we've definitely had in a long time, both signings and cuts. After that, I'm going to be revealing my NFL predictions, record predictions for every NFL team. We'll also be previewing the biggest games of the year and obviously the holiday games as well. And then after that, I'll have a quiz, which was a really tight race this week. And after that, we'll have one question of the week. This is Deacon's NFL Talk. All right, everyone, we're going to jump right into this one. Episode 57. Let's get into it. So, as always, we are starting off with the main topic. Excuse me. This is episode 56. I just wanted to correct myself on that. Episode 56. It's underway. Starting off with the main topic, Ravens. The Ravens extend Derrick Henry to a 2-year, $30 million extension. This is something that was talked about earlier in the offseason as well. But yeah, it was talked about earlier in the offseason. Now, like when I say that, it was something. It was a question mark about a month or two ago. There was obviously speculation about whether Derrick Henry and even James Cook would get their extensions after Saquon Barkley obviously got his. And now Derrick Henry is the next running back, a very good running back, I should say, to get paid. And I think James Cook is definitely the next man up as well. But the deal includes $25 million fully guaranteed. And obviously we all know about the duo that Lamar and Derrick Henry had. That duo in Baltimore for the first year in Baltimore for Henry was incredible. I mean, the two combined for 7,201 yards in total, which is the most by any duo in NFL history. He also ran for over 1,000 yards 6 of his last 7 seasons, which is just incredible. And the fact that he's like 30, I believe, 30, 31. I know he turned 30 or something in January. But the fact that he's producing these kind of numbers at 30 is kind of incredible. I mean, I don't think he's going to be slowing down this year. Honestly, I think he's going to be right back on track. I think the year that we should expect Henry to fall off is probably, I would say, after another 3 or 4 years. Then he might start to slow down. But, I mean, yeah, he will make $15 million per year from 2026 to 2027, staying with the team through 2027. So, yeah, his old deal that he signed last offseason when he was originally signing with the Ravens last year, before this deal even came to a thought, he was on a short deal. It's the same length as this one. It was a 2-year, like $8 million per year. And then he would be a free agent next offseason. So just stuff like that. Obviously, you don't want to have him as a free agent next offseason just because of how good of numbers that Henry has put up this past season. I mean, Henry becomes the third highest paid running back, only behind Christian McCaffrey, who's making $19 million a year, and Saquon Barkley, who's making $20.6 million a year. He signed an extension this offseason as well. But yeah, I mean, if Henry did not sign this deal, he would be making $8 million per year, which is kind of crazy. So now that he's making he's going to be making $15 million a year with a 2-year, $30 million deal. So this goes to show you that how much the Ravens value him and how big of a part he is to that Ravens team. I mean, if they did not have Derrick Henry, I don't think the Ravens would have even made. I think they would have beaten the Steelers, but it would have been a lot closer of a game. But with Derrick Henry, it kind of adds another weapon for Lamar. I mean, Lamar can run. We all know that. He's become a much better passer than in years past. Then you have Henry, who's the huge running back, is strong, and like he has a motor. I mean, he's one of those guys that is really big and you don't really expect to run really fast, but no, he is incredibly quick. And then you have solid receiver in Zay Flowers. I mean, he's not the best. Rashad Bateman's a reliable target. The one thing I think the Ravens are missing, though, is a true receiver one. I think that's truly the one thing that they are missing. And I think they're a receiver away. I mean, you have Mark Andrews, who is slowly starting to slow down a little bit. But if the Ravens can actually get a true receiver one, aside from Zay Flowers, and he'd be a receiver two on any other team, in my opinion. So we'll see if they ever end up getting another receiver. I think they should. Their defense, I mean, a young, talented defense. I think it's going to be a terrifying defense for another few years. And, yeah, we'll see how Henry performs this year, and we'll see how the Ravens perform. I would not be shocked if they made the AFC Championship game. Super Bowl's a little bit rich. Like I said, they still need another weapon, it feels like to me. I could be wrong. I could be dead wrong on that. But that's just my take on that right now. We are going to go on to the second topic. This was the one that happened last week. Did not get to it because I actually had no idea it happened. But Saints quarterback Derek Carr is retiring after 11 seasons in the NFL. This is something that kind of came abruptly. Like, no one suspected this to happen. I mean, we all knew the reasoning behind it is obviously because of the shoulder injury. And that's whenever I first saw that he got injured, or whenever he retired, I was like, oh, it's definitely because of the shoulder. I didn't realize it was that bad, honestly. I had no clue that it was as bad as what it was. It was obviously bad enough to make him retire. So, I mean, it requires surgery, so I don't know when that's going to happen. He wouldn't have played if he didn't retire. He wouldn't have played at all this year, because of the surgery, obviously. He spent 9 years in a Raiders uniform, being drafted by the team in the second round in 2014. So, I mean, a lot of people say this. I never actually experienced 2016 Derek Carr, only because I wasn't even an NFL fan by then. I hardly knew what football was at that point. But I kind of wish I did, because I keep hearing, like, after he retired, I heard all these, like, 2016 Derek Carr was incredible. I mean, the best version of him ever. Haven't got a chance to watch his highlights or anything yet, but I've heard that he was pretty darn good. So I definitely do want to do that at some point. I mean, last season, though, obviously he's fallen off since 2016. He went 5-5 on the year. Those 5 wins, though, were the only wins the Saints had all year. So it kind of shows you how important Derek Carr was to this Saints team. Really, Spencer Rattler and Jay Kaner, they couldn't do nothing. And I don't think Tyler Shuck, their new rookie quarterback, who was drafted with a 40th overall pick in this most recent draft, I don't think he's going to be anywhere close to an All-Pro. I mean, I might come back to this after this year or at some point, but I'll say it right now. Tyler Shuck was the wrong decision. I would have went with Shedeur Sanders. I mean, feel like we've all seen this, but remember that combine throw he had where he kind of threw it sidearm almost, and it was like not even pretty at all. I mean, there's just some, even in his tape too, like there's like nothing. There's obviously some things pretty, but like there's some stupid decisions that he can make, and it's just really ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense to me. I would have went with Shedeur. I don't think Tyler Shuck. I think actually Spencer Rattler has a chance to be a solid quarterback. I'm not gonna say like I would say his ceiling is probably decent and his floor is just trash. Like he has a very similar, like he's not gonna be this top tier quarterback, but he can play here. At worst, he can play way down here beneath my feet. But the Saints quarterback room insists of Spencer Rattler, Tyler Shuck, and Jay Kaner, which is not a pretty quarterback room. Even though the Browns have more quarterbacks, theirs looks a lot better than this one. But in Carr's 11 seasons, he threw for 4,245 yards, 257 touchdowns, and 112 interceptions. Put up a solid career. Honestly, I think it was one of the better ones for a quarterback. But yeah, when I saw an article about this, I forget which website it was, but man, I was like, whoa. Like, I had no idea it was happening. I know, like, because there wasn't anything about this. Like, he really just came out and said, yeah, I'm retiring. Shoulder injury was bad enough. he said he's gonna start spending some more quality time with his family, which is understandable. I mean, if you're not gonna play for the 2025 and you've already played 11 seasons, why not retire? Honestly, I totally get it. Happy retirement to Derek Carr, and hopefully life's next chapter is even better than your first one. We're gonna go on to the third topic. The Eagles are set to host the Cowboys for the 2025 season opener. The schedule release just kind of gets me super excited because we can see who teams are playing and when. But then we also realize, oh, football season's even closer than what we thought it was. Once the schedule comes out, I always feel like football season is just like a few days away when it's really not. It just makes it feel like it's happening a lot sooner. Unfortunately, that's not the way this goes. But the game will take place on September 4th at Lincoln Financial Field. I'm assuming it'll start at around 8:15, 8:20. I forget when it is. Is it 8:20? I'm going to have to look that up. But honestly, I feel like we could have had a better season opener. But hey, I mean, as long as we get a game, I don't care. 8:20 p.m. September 4th. That is still got a little bit of ways to go. But it'll be here before we know it. But I mean, last season the Eagles did beat the Cowboys both times they played each other, and obviously Philly outscored them 75-13 in both games. But the bright side for the Cowboys is that the team is 7-0 on Thursday night, which might be an advantage for the Cowboys. Who knows? I think the Eagles will absolutely wallop the Cowboys by 15 plus, something like that. I mean, there were 8 other teams that could have played Philly that I heard that the NFL was talking about, such as the Commanders, Giants, Bears, Lions, Raiders, Rams, and Broncos. So those all would have been good games. I think Commanders or Broncos would be the best options. Maybe the Lions and the Bears. I'm so glad they didn't do the Giants, Bears, or Raiders. That would have just been terrible. I'd rather have the Cowboys in the season opener than those teams. But we will see a few new faces with the Cowboys, such as head coach Brian Schottenheimer, who was hired earlier this offseason. He will make his debut. So will George Pickens in a Dallas uniform, which will be interesting to see him pair up with CeeDee Lamb. And Dak Prescott will return after missing 9 games last season with a hamstring injury. We'll see if he can get back to his old form. See if, still moving well and everything. We will see what happens. I would not be shocked at all, really, if he comes out and struggles. I mean, we've seen quarterbacks. Obviously, in recent memory, haven't seen hamstring injuries, but we've seen Aaron Rodgers return from an Achilles injury, not himself. Obviously, there's a big difference between an Achilles injury and a hamstring injury, which is understandably so, is why Rodgers fell off. Not blaming the injury or anything. He was getting old anyway. But we will see. I'm interested to see how how Dak Prescott will do when he comes back. That's one thing that I'm keeping my eye on September 4th at 8:20 p.m. We will see. I think it's gonna be a solid season opener. I don't think it's gonna be like last year's when we had the Chiefs and Ravens. That one was a game. That was a great one. But I am excited to see George Pickens and Dak Prescott, and I'm really pumped to see George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb as another top 5 wide receiver duo. But yes, we are going to go on to the final topic. All right, this is the last one. NFL owners are pondering if players should participate in flag football for the 2028 Olympics. So, for those of you who don't know what's taking place or anything, the league will be discussing the matter in next week's meeting, league meeting, I should say. So basically what they're doing is, I guess we're doing flag football in the Olympics in 3 years. And so I don't really know how to describe this, but I guess what they're doing is they have a league meeting. They're going to talk about this topic. Because, I mean, if owners agree to let their players participate in the games, this would be the first time the Olympics has had flag football games. So, I don't know, because there was some speculation maybe out there that it could be only NFL players, or it could just be like some other athletes that do flag football. Because I feel like, I'm not sure if there's a league for flag football, but I've seen like just people like just other athletes play flag football for the United States. but I don't know if we'll have NFL players, just other athletes out there. I'm not sure because I've seen stuff like that before. And I don't know. There's one flag football player currently who was kind of upset that the NFL players could just like walk in and be good at it, because really that flag football player worked really hard, and all NFL players had to do is just walk right in and play. To be honest with you, though, before we move on, I will say, though, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell says there are several players who want to play and represent their country, such as like Dolphins receiver Tyreek Hill and Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow have expressed interest in playing the games. I will say, though, if we're doing flag football in 2028, here's what I'll tell you. For one, why even put like starters? Like, why even put like Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson and Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and the United States? Like, we dominated this stuff. Like, the only one time that we didn't is like a year or so ago is like when Japan beat a bunch of high scores from the United States. That's different. But really, all the United States needs to win the whole thing is really just a couple third stringers and a few practice squad players. Throw Jacob Browning in there, the best backup quarterback in the league. You could even throw like, I don't know, what's his name? It's a receiver. Can't remember his name. There's just, I feel like we don't even need to put NFL players in here. Like, all we need is just a few random athletes and maybe some like third stringers who like don't play very often. I'm trying to think of like a bunch of third stringers right now. You could put Calvin Ridley in there and he'd dominate. Like, there's really no point in putting a bunch of starters and putting their risk of injury out there, which is probably why they're talking about this, because risk of injury is one thing to take into consideration. Like, do you want your player potentially having a career-ending injury? Like, do you want a season-ending injury? Just stuff like that. Just stuff to ponder once this meeting takes place next week. If I'm the Bengals, and if I'm the Bengals, I'm not letting Joe Burrow do this. He's already tore his ACL, did something with his ligament, something, I don't really remember what happened. Just stuff like that just like, it's just risky. But I understand doing it for your country and everything, which is obviously really cool to do that, to do it in front of America, in front of the world pretty much. Show like your talent and everything. But we don't really need a bunch of like starters. We just need third stringers and practice squad players, and we'll be fine. Anyway, that is NFL news. We are going to get to quick hits. We only have 4 this week, so I should be able to easily beat the timer without any issues. I should, at least. So, there are some decently long ones, I will say, but I think I can get the job done. All right, here we go. We're going to do it right here. Browns linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah will miss the 2025 season with a neck injury. Cleveland placed him on the PUP list because of the neck injury he suffered in Week 8 of last season. The Browns did draft linebacker Carson Schweisinger out of UCLA to help fill that void. Chiefs super fan Xavier Babudar, a.k.a. Chiefsaholic, was sentenced to 32 years in prison for a bank robbery in Oklahoma. Babudar, or I'll just call him Chiefsaholic, robbed a bank in Oklahoma, Nevada, and California. He was also connected to robberies in Tennessee and some other states in the Midwest. Chiefsaholic had a 17.5 federal prison sentence after pleading guilty for robbing 11 banks in 7 different states in 2 years and stole more than $800,000. The Tulsa wanted Chiefsaholic to face a life sentence in prison. That's crazy. All right. Second to last, Colts apologized to Tyreek Hill for schedule release video. I will get a video on this. Indianapolis apologized to Hill and Microsoft. Last September, Hill was pulled over and dragged him out of his vehicle and put cuffs on him. His agent, Drew Rosenhaus, said that he found the video funny. Hill's agent, Drew Rosenhaus, said that he found the video and found it funny when he watched it. He even had a laugh, apparently. Caleb Williams and his dad did not want him to be drafted by the Caleb Williams and his dad did not want Caleb to be drafted by the Bears. Williams' dad, Carl Williams, said that Chicago is the place for quarterbacks go to die. That's what, quote, Chicago is the place quarterbacks go to die. Since being drafted by the Bears, Williams tallied 3,541 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. And former Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson was hired as the head coach. Finished with 18 seconds left. I do want to show a video about the Colts schedule release video because this is honestly I don't see why Tyreek Hill apparently laughed. I quote, found it funny and laughed. So I mean, he accepted their apology too. But as long as he laughs, you don't really need to take it down. But some with Microsoft, I guess it's like a Minecraft themed schedule release video. Next week though, I want to do best and worst schedule release videos. So stay tuned for that next week. I'm just gonna play it here. It's a really short clip. I'm just gonna play it right here. So he has a Hill jersey on. His name is Hill. He's a Dolphin, and then the Coast Guard or Villager, whatever you want to call him, comes up and arrests him or whatever. It's kind of not exactly that happened. It's just kind of pointing fun, just stuff like that. It's more of it's a harmless prank. I don't see why you should get real mad at it, and I'm glad Hill didn't. He reacted the right way, and he said he came out and laughed, which is the right way to go about that. So we're going to go on to signings and cuts. We have a lot, so bear with me here. Falcons signed linebacker Caleb Johnson. Ravens signed offensive tackle Lucas Scott. Defensive back Keon Martin. Kicker John Hoyland. And defensive end Kamon Rucker. Bears signed defensive back Jeremiah Walker. Punter Torrey Taylor. Bengals signed safety Shaquan Loyal. Browns signed wide receiver Luke Floria. Wide receiver Keyshawn Johnson. Wide receiver Cade McDonald. Safety Rayshawn Jenkins. And safety DeMonte KZ. Broncos signed wide receiver Kyrie White. Tight end Colt Fotheringham. Linebacker Jordan Turner, and long snapper Zach Schreiner, and punter Jeremy Crawshaw. Lions signed wide receiver Malik Taylor, tight end Luke Deal, defensive lineman Raekwon Williams, defensive lineman Keith Cooper. The Packers signed quarterback Taylor Elgersma, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, wide receiver Jaden Jank. Colts signed center Mos Vavo, and defensive tackle Eric Johnson. Raiders signed wide receiver Ketron Jackson Jr., wide receiver Keyshawn Smith, defensive end Jafari Harvey, linebacker Jalen Smith, linebacker Wesley Steiner, and safety Jonathan Sutherland. Chargers signed wide receiver Dalavon Campbell and linebacker Kanai Mauga. I'm sorry if I not pronounce these names wrong. Dolphins signed corner Kendall Sheffield. Vikings signed outside linebacker Matt Harmon. Defensive lineman Elijah Williams. Patriots signed guard Mekhi Becton. Defensive tackle Isaiah Aiton. Defensive tackle Wilfried Peen. And running back Travion Williams, a former Bengal, I will add. Crazy. He's going to be a stud in New England. Saints signed wide receiver Donovan Peoples-Jones, safety Terrell Burgess, and quarterback Hunter Deckers. Giants signed wide receiver Little Jordan Humphrey and cornerback TJ Moore. Jets signed wide receiver Arian Smith and punter Kai Kroger. Steelers signed running back Max Hurlman, running back Trey Sermon, stud at Ohio State, I will say. Offensive tackle Gareth Warren. 49ers signed linebacker Stone Blanton, corner Derrick and corner Derek Canteen. Seahawks signed wide receiver Montorie Foster Jr. and linebacker Derek Jackson. Buccaneers signed defensive lineman Devon J. Thomas and linebacker Nick Jackson. Titans signed TJ Sheffield, tight end Drake Dabney, defensive lineman Carlos Watkins, linebacker Armari Burney, and corner Amani. This is a hard one to pronounce. Oruwari. I think I got that right. Oruwariye. And linebacker Anferni Orji. Texans signed defensive tackle Foley Fatuaski, and Jaguars signed tight end Quinnen Morris. You can point and laugh at me pronouncing these names. I really don't care. I want to hear you pronounce them. Here are the cuts. Dolphins cut long snapper Neelan Hibbett. Falcons cut wide receiver Philip Dorsett. Bengals cut corner Micah Abraham. Browns cut fullback Eli Wilson. Wide receiver Jasim Reed. Defensive end Marcus Haynes. And safety Trey Dean. Broncos cut nose tackle Christian Dowell, linebacker Thomas Yasmin, and corner Kendall Bowler. Lions cut tight end Caden Prisgorn and offensive lineman Leif Fatanu. Packers cut guard Marquise Haynes. Colts cut defensive tackle Joe Evans and safety Marcel Dabo. Raiders cut wide receiver Tyreek McAllister, wide receiver Christian Wilkerson, offensive tackle Dominic Boyd, defensive tackle Matthew Butler, linebacker Armari Burney, and linebacker Brandon Smith. Chargers cut offensive lineman Bucky Williams, linebacker Jeremiah Jean Baptist. Patriots cut tackle Cole Burdo and defensive tackle Eric Johnson. Saints cut running back Jordan Mims, safety Millard Bradford, and Anderney Orgy. I believe we already got to that one. Giants cut defensive back R.J. Delancey the third, and defensive back Tommy McCormick. Steelers cut running back Aaron Shampkin. Seahawks cut wide receiver River Crackcraft. I don't know how you pronounce that. Buccaneers cut tight end Anthony Lanphier and linebacker Deion Jennings. Titans cut corner Virgil Lemons. Safety Jaron Thomas. Defensive lineman Abdullah Anderson. Defensive back Garrett Hollis. We have a few more, like 6 more. Texans cut corner Gregory Jr. Dolphins cut defensive tackle Trayvon Rebuka. Jets cut punter Thomas Morstead. 49ers cut safety Quindell Johnson. Jaguars cut tight end Patrick Murtagh. And the Chiefs cut running back Keontae Ingram and wide receiver Justin Lockhart. That is all for signings and cuts. That was a lot. We might go overtime with this week's episode because we have the record predictions and so on. Anyway, let's get to first. We're gonna start off with the important games. I have it on a piece of paper here, but the season opener this year is Cowboys versus Eagles. We already talked about that one. We have 7 international games this year. The Chiefs and Chargers will take place on September 5th at 8 p.m. Vikings-Steelers in Ireland. Oh, by the way, the Chiefs-Chargers game is in Brazil. Vikings-Steelers in Ireland, September 28th at 9:30 a.m. All of these are on Sunday, I believe, except the Chiefs-Chargers, which I believe is on Friday. Let's see. Vikings versus Browns in London, October 5th at 9:30 a.m. From now on, they all start at 9:30 a.m. I'll just get that out. So the Vikings play two out of country games, if you will, whatever you call it. Broncos Jets in London on October 12th. Rams Jaguars in London on October 19th. It feels like the Jaguars are always in London at some point. Falcons versus Colts in Germany on November 9th. And last one, Commanders Dolphins in Spain, November 16th. We also have a Super Bowl rematch between the Chiefs and Eagles on September 14th at 4:25 p.m. That is going to be a must-watch. Actually, that's the same day I'm going to a Bengals-Jaguars game. Pumped about that. Really excited. My first regular season game other than the Bills-Bengals game where DeMar Hamlin died on the field. That's about it. You can't really even call it a regular season game. Hardly a game at that point. We watched 6 minutes. That's about it. Thanksgiving. We have a Thanksgiving triple header, and this one is going to be a treat. Lions-Packers at 1 p.m., Cowboys-Chiefs at 4:30 p.m., and Ravens-Bengals at 8:20. That is just a beautiful Thanksgiving triple header. You couldn't draw it up any better than that. Black Friday, we have Eagles-Bears on November 28th at 3 p.m. And we have a Christmas triple header, Commanders-Cowboys at 1 o'clock, Vikings-Lions at 4:30, and Chiefs-Broncos at 8:15. That's also a really good triple header as well. So those are the games that are highlighted on or written down on your calendar. This is record predictions now, right? We're going to start off with the AFC East. I have the Bills going 12-5 and 6-0 in their division. I don't see one loss in their division. Last year I had the Bills going 9-8. They're going to be a lot better than this year. Obviously that take never aged very well. I had the Patriots going 10-7, going 2-4 in their division. Obviously, they lost both to the Bills. They beat the Dolphins, or I believe they split with the Dolphins and Jets. So I think everybody's splitting except the Bills. I have the Dolphins going 5-12, 2-4 in their division. I just don't see the Dolphins being good at all this year. Maybe I'm wrong. I have the Jets going 3 I don't like this at all. But I have the Jets going 3-14, 2-4 in their division. I looked at their schedule, and there's really hardly any games. I want Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson to succeed, and I think they have a really good opportunity to do so. There's just not a lot of games I think they're going to win. The Jets are the Jets. I'm sorry. Don't be shocked, though, if they get 4-5, maybe even 6 wins this year, though. That's all for AFC East. We're going to go on to the AFC West. The Chiefs, I have them going 13-4 this year, and 5-1 in their division. Their only loss is to the Broncos. The Broncos, I wouldn't be shocked if the Broncos won the division this year. The Broncos, I have them going 12-5 and 4-2 in their division. So they're a game behind the Chiefs. And even if they were 13-4 tied with the Chiefs, they still have a 4-2 divisional record, so the Chiefs would get they would win their division. I had the Chargers going 11-6 and 3-3 in the division, so they split every single game there. I'm just not high on Justin Herbert, or overall just the Chargers. Justin Herbert does not scare me. Him and Jordan Love, I feel like, are overrated in my opinion. All right, Raiders, I have them going 5-12 and 1-5 in their division. The only win that the Raiders get in that division is against the Chargers. So yes, that's the AFC West. Now to go to the AFC North, I have the Ravens going 13-4 and 5-1 in their division. Their only loss is, well, hold up, we're gonna make a last second change. The Ravens are going 12-5 and 4-2 in their division. Their only losses in that division are to the Bengals and Steelers. Because, I mean, no matter how bad the Steelers roster looks, they're going to have 8+ wins every single year. This seems like the way of life, I guess. I have the Bengals going 12-5 and 4-2 in their division. So, now I have the Ravens going 12-5 and the Bengals going 12-5, and both went 4-2 in their division. Those two teams are going to be the teams to watch in the AFC North. I have the Steelers going 8-9. I originally had them going like 5-12, but I'm like, they have Mike Tomlin and they're the Steelers. They're gonna find ways to win stupid games that they shouldn't. So I have them going 8-9 and 3-3 in their division, so they split with everybody. I have the Browns going 4-13. Whoever their quarterback is, whether it's Will Howard, Mason Rudolph, the other guy's name I can't remember. It should be Will Howard. If it's Will Howard, I'm talking about the Steelers. The Browns. I guess the Steelers and Browns both have similar quarterback situations. Whoever the Browns quarterback is, whether it's Shador, Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, whoever it is, they're going to suck anyway. They go 1-5 in their division. The only win is the Steelers, I believe. So, honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if we lost to the Browns as well. For the AFC South, the Texans going 10-7, still hardly any improvement. Their offensive line is worse than it was last year, and their offensive line sucked last year too. I have them going 5-1 in their division. Their only loss is to the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars have a really good opportunity to make the playoffs. I would say out of every single AFC team, my dark horse to make the playoffs is probably the Jaguars. So, I have the Jaguars also going 3-3 in their division. Texans 10-7, 5-1. Jaguars, I have them going 8-9 and 3-3 in their division. I have the Colts going 5-12 and 4-2 in their division. And the Titans were one game away from tying the Colts record. The Titans are going 4-13 and 0-6 in their division. I wouldn't be shocked though if the Titans actually put together a 5-win season. I think Xavier Restrepo and Cam Ward, that duo, the Canes duo, the next bro to chase, in my opinion. The NFC East, we're going to go to the NFC side now. In the NFC East, I have the Eagles winning that division, going 15-2 and 5-1 in that division. I believe that their only losses are against the Chiefs and the Rams, I believe. I think the Rams will get their revenge. That defense, that young defense for both Eagles and Rams is developing. So, the Commanders, I have them going second in the division. I have them going 11-6 and 4-2 in their division. I think the Commanders could easily have a 12-win season. Just the way their schedule is kind of made. They have the 8th hardest schedule. It's kind of hard to put 12 wins up there. I have the Giants going 7-10 and 1-5 in their division. I might make a change here because of how hard their schedule is. I honestly would not be shocked if they had a 5-4 win season. I'm going to pull up their opponents right here. So, at home, you have the Cowboys, Eagles, Commanders. I would say you win 1 out of 2. So right now they have 1 win. Against the Packers, loss. Against the Vikings, loss. I'll give you a win against the 49ers. You're not going to beat the Chargers or Chiefs. On the road, I'll give Dallas a win, Eagles a win, Commanders a win, Bears a win, Lions win, beat the Saints, beat the Raiders. All right, new prediction. The Giants, why did I have 7 wins? The Giants are going 4-13. All right, the Giants are going 4-13 this year. And, 1-5 in their division. I have the Cowboys going 6-11 in their division, so they'll be 3rd place. I also have them going 1-5 in their division as well. For the NFC West, I have the Rams winning that division by a landslide. I have them going 12-5 and 4-2 in their division. For the Seahawks, I have them second place in the NFC West. I have them going 8-9 and splitting with every team in that division, going 3-3. 49ers, I did not expect them to putting them at third place because of everybody that they lost. But hey, they still have Christian McCaffrey. They still have Brock Purdy. They still have George Kittle. They have some solid weapons. Fred Warner, Nick Bosa. You get the point. I have going 6-11 and 2-4 in that division. And then that last place, very, very close. I have the Cardinals going 6-11, going 2-4 in their division. For the NFC North, this is going to be a tight division. This is probably, if the AFC North is not the best division in football, which I don't think it is anymore because of the Browns and Steelers, really, it's probably the NFC North. But the AFC North is the most physical and most fearsome division in football. There's no doubt about that. The Lions going 12-5 and 4-2 in their division. The Bears following up right behind them, 9-8 and 3-3. I could easily seeing them have 11 wins. I could easily see the Lions having 13 wins, but I just don't see the Bears getting any more than 11 this year. The Packers going 8-9 right behind the Bears, going 2-4 in their division. Vikings going 7-10 and 2-4 in their division. I think the Vikings will be solid. Now that I gave the Giants a whole remix of schedules, they'll go like the Vikings. They'll go 8-9 by now. For the NFC South, I have the Buccaneers going 11-6 and 4-2 in their division. This is the worst division in football, so yeah, I mean this division is really bad. I have the Falcons going 9-8 and 4-2 in their division. The Panthers going 6-11 and 3-3 in their division, splitting with everybody. And last but pretty much very least, the Saints going 3-14 and 1-5 in their division, beating the Panthers, I believe. So that is my NFL record predictions. Put in the comments below how you think that'll turn out and if it's good or not. I'm sure we'll come back a year from now and look back at a bunch of these and say, these predictions sucked. I wouldn't be shocked whatsoever if we came back and did that. You can point and laugh at me all you want this year. Do it especially next year because there's going to be a lot wrong. But you can't point fingers at me yet. All right? I mean, since it's early in the off season still, things can change. Who knows? I just know there's going to be a whole bunch that are dead wrong. Anyway, before we go, we have a few new signings and cuts. Just a couple. All we have is the Jets cutting kicker Greg Zuerlein, and the Jets also signed defensive end Michael Fletcher. That's all for signings and cuts. Any more NFL news? I don't think so. Let me see. I'm not seeing a whole lot right now. NFL owners are going to vote on the playoff format proposal, so look out for that. That's something I'd keep your eye on throughout the week. Well, I guess like technically next week. Because the league meeting is next week. But that is all. Now we're going to go to the quiz. And I'm telling you, this one was a tight race. The tightest race we've had in a long time. But guess who did it again? I told you last week. Starting last week, I said, I'm going to win every single quiz. I'm going to have a long streak until the NFL season starts. Not preseason, not July 31st, which is the first game of the year. September 4th. I'm keeping that streak. How many weeks is that? Let me see. How long is that? It's 2, 6. Oh, geez. That's like, oh, man. I got to keep this streak for like 15 weeks. I can do it, though. I can do it. I'll pull it off. Just watch me. Watch me beat y'all. And you have nothing to do about it. 7 was 19%. 8 was 23%. 9 was 27%. And 6 was 31%. The reason we have 26, if the last two people that voted on this did not vote at all, you guys would have won this. But on Friday afternoon, there were 2 extra voters, and they both picked the wrong one. At first, it was 31% to 31% to whatever. And then one person picked another wrong one. And I got the dub again. I'm just like that. I'm telling you, it's going to last the season. Last the off season, I should say. So, anyway, question of the week, because we're going to go way over time this week. Will the Bengals sign Trey Hendrickson to a new deal this offseason? Yes or no? 50-50. 34 votes, 50-50. I agree with most of you. I agree with everybody who voted in this poll. I can see why some would say yes. I can see why some would say no. Because as a Bengals fan, the Bengals always find a way to mess everything up. They just find a way to ruin it. The Bengals specifically said last year that if Trey Hendrickson would play good and shut his mouth, then they'd get the deal done. Well, that hasn't happened yet. It's May. It's mid-May. It's almost June, guys. And Trey Hendrickson just still, May's going to be over in 2 weeks. And the closer we get to the year, Trey Hendrickson said he's not going to play for the Bengals if he's going to be on his current deal. That concerns me. It genuinely makes no sense to trade him. It doesn't make any sense to trade him right now. I just don't see why you would. The only thing that would make sense is if we get him like a 2 to 3 year deal and just stop having to worry about it. Because, the Bengals are already having, like, stadium lease problems. Like, last year it was about T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. 2 things going on. This year's Trey Hendrickson and apparently the Bengals stadium, I guess, which, yeah. It says, Bengals lawyer says we're supposed to be getting a new deal done now. We're not starting over. Even though there was one article that says that they're starting over in quotes. So I don't really understand what's happening right now in Cincinnati. Every offseason there's some sort of drama, whether it's a player, a coach, even a problem with the stadium. It doesn't make sense to me whatsoever. I don't get it, whatever's going on there. But that is this week's episode. If you enjoyed, hit the like, the subscribe button, and the notification bell to get notified of every single upload this channel makes. Check out last week's episode 55, which is a much easier watch than today's episode. Talked about the Steelers trading George Pickens to the Cowboys to form an incredible wide receiver duo with CeeDee Lamb. Highly suggest you guys check that one out. And I will see you guys next week for another great episode on Deacon's NFL Talk.